In this video, I'm going to show you the chicken tortilla soup that my mom made while I was visiting on a recent trip home to Louisiana. We started off with one package of organic chicken breasts. This is the Kirkland variety. You could use whatever brand you like. We also used one whole onion. This is a yellow onion, but you could use whatever type of onion you want. Red onion, white onion, sweet onion. We also used 2 stalks of celery as well as 1 carrot. We would chop these up, but here they are before they're chopped. In addition to these veggies, we added sweet white corn. You could use yellow corn or any kind of frozen corn that you like. Another star ingredient is the organic black beans. You could use other varieties of black beans. They don't necessarily have to be organic, but this is what we had. Additionally, we added rotel for flavor. You could use just plain diced tomatoes if you can't find rotel. We also added a can of crushed tomatoes, and this just adds that rich tomato flavor that makes a tortilla soup so good. And these tortilla strips, we added some to the soup and then we added some at the end. These are the seasonings we use, starting off with seasonal. You could substitute Tony Chachere's or any Creole seasoning. Garlic powder is another addition, as well as ground cumin and chili powder. So these are the seasonings that we used to flavor this soup. I almost forgot one of the main ingredients, chicken broth. We used the Walmart variety, the organic reduced sodium. We start off with a medium-high heat and we add some olive oil to the bottom of our pot. We then add our diced onion and celery. Once added, you want to make sure all the onion and celery get coated in the olive oil. This just makes sure there's good flavor throughout the soup. And you want to cook it down until it softens. Here you can see it's starting to get soft and the onions are becoming clear. That's how you know it's cooking all the way through. We seasoned our chicken beforehand, so we just took the seasonal and we just sprinkled it liberally over the chicken on either side. We added the chicken breasts whole to the pot with the onion and celery, and we added a little bit of chicken broth. We left it whole because we're planning on shredding this chicken. You could also chop it and put the chopped pieces of chicken at this point, but we just decided to leave them whole and shred it later. After about 10 minutes or so, we flipped the chicken breasts over so that they cooked evenly on both sides. At this point, we made sure our chopped carrots were ready to go. You can use a frozen bag of carrots as well. That would work just as good. This step is optional. My mom likes to puree her rotel tomatoes before she adds them to the soup. They just blend well that way with the crushed tomatoes that we're also going to add. But this is totally optional. You could just pop the whole can in if you want. Here we add the crushed rotel tomatoes that have been pureed along with the crushed tomatoes that are canned. And then we're going to add a little more broth. And the spices, chili powder first, about a tablespoon I believe. Ground cumin, also I'd say about a tablespoon or a little less. powder next, as much as you like. You can add more or less depending on your preference for garlic. You could also have added fresh garlic if you prefer that. Time for the other star ingredient, the black beans. You could use any version of beans that you want. You could use pinto beans, white beans, red beans. Now we're adding the carrots. And finally the frozen corn. We added about half a bag. You could add more or less to your liking. Now we're going to top it all off with some more chicken broth so that it can come back to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, we're going to lower the heat and let it simmer. We added some tortilla strips at this point. You want to add them while the soup is cooking because they work kind of like cornstarch. They break down and thicken the soup. It's just a little easier to deal with than cornstarch, and I find it turned out great. It actually thickened the soup nicely. You want to bring it back up to a boil for a few minutes to allow everything to cook down and cook together. Then you want to lower it to a medium-low heat and let it simmer. At this point, we shred the chicken. You can shred it however you like to shred it. We're using the 2-fork method here. And simple as that. You add the chicken back to the pot, bring it back up to a higher heat so that everything can meld together, and then you've got your chicken tortilla soup. Once served, you can add the rest of the tortilla strips. You could also add other toppings like avocado or cheese. But honestly, it was perfect just like this.